sort of patterned after the professor on Gilligan's Island. Because of all the things that I built. In order to keep from going insane, I had my tools out and I was just building stuff. I built racks for our M16s, and I built a 12-volt power supply system to our tent to power the radio and a number of other things, fluorescent lamp, and I built a sink. It's like a big water jug, and we went to this little truck stop, and I was able to buy plumbing fittings, and I screwed in a valve so that we could actually just turn the thing, and anytime we wanted we would have like water, whereas everybody else had to take those big 5-gallon jugs, open up the top, tip it over, and then and it was a big rigmarole. But we just walked up with our canteen gun and made our top ramen or whatever. I also purchased a Coleman stove, the gasoline, white gas type, and we had access to gasoline, which they called MoGas in the military, for the Jeeps. And the Army provided these crappy little stoves, but they didn't work for anything. But this Coleman stove, it worked awesome. In fact, I got another one in the back room because it's so useful. Let's see. Oh, and my crowning achievement in Saudi Arabia that just like floored everybody, and everybody's jaw was like on the ground, was when I dug up a piece of equipment in our tracked vehicles, and I actually found that it was a motor generator for a piece of disconnected equipment that wasn't even with the vehicle anymore. And I wired the thing up and put a power strip up in front of the track and a little on-off switch next to it so that you could turn the motor generator on and off. And we had house current. Suddenly my team was the only team in the company that had 110 volts alternating current. And then I bought all of these trouble lights, and so that I could illuminate our tent, and we could plug our radio in, and we had little coffee coils that we could heat up our coffee with, and it was like we were living in the lap of luxury compared to all the other teams. And there's one thing though that I didn't like about that. One time, my commander, he saw that we had all of that wonderful infrastructure in our tent, and then he waltzed over and he kicked us all out so that he could have a meeting with some other officers in the tent with my stuff. So before I left, I arranged for it to fail gradually over a period of about a half hour or so. And then basically their meeting ended early because the light was getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. So all I can say is, I mean, if he would have asked me and if he would have been polite about it, I would have gone that extra mile and let him have his meeting and everything. But he didn't have that ability, and for that reason, his meeting was messed up. So don't ever mess with a mechanic, because you will find that one after another of your devices will mysteriously fail, and then you will be without, your stuff. But nobody on YouTube would, of course, have a problem like that, because everybody here has like diplomacy and decency and all that good stuff. So my second one, okay, I've had my skull crushed. Then my second thing was, my nickname was the Professor back in Saudi Arabia. Another interesting thing, a lot of people go to work every single day and they just hate their job. They get that feeling in their freaking chest, that cold feeling of upsetness in their stomach, where they just hate it so much, and the strength goes out of them, and they have to go in for like 8 hours of just absolute horror. And I am like hugely lucky, because I am almost like designed and built from the ground up. Although I'm not really a religious person, if I were, I would almost say that I had been spec'd out before I was born to be a mechanic of some kind. And I go to work every single day, except for every once in a while if I'm not feeling well or something. And I just, and I'm just humming happy to myself, and I'm doing overhead adjustments on M11s and pulling wheels off those buses and throwing brakes on and replacing wheel seals, and some of the jobs are dirty and some of them aren't. Doing airbag suspension on the things where just dirt and dust just goes everywhere, and sometimes at the end of the day I dig dust and dirt out of my underwear. It gets everywhere, you know. But the thing is, I love my job. Isn't that bizarre? And it's kind of like almost out of style, almost like it's not cool to even think for a second that you might really enjoy your job. But I am one of those people that just loves to fix things, you know, just loves to, whenever my hands are busy working on something like this, or something at work, you know, electrical problems, cooling system issues, you know, where you got a puzzle and you just got to go down the logic chart and just, you know, let your imagination just soar. What could this possibly be? And then start eliminating one possibility after another, and then you run into it, and then you fix the problem. And then there's something almost therapeutic, because when you fire up the bus and then you go park the thing in the good lanes, and it's something almost therapeutic, because you can see that you have done something useful, you know, and it's something useful for society in general, you know. When I was in the military, I was so absolutely, horrifically, hideously depressed that I'm going to tell you something that you might not like to hear, and that's I actually bought about 3 little boxes of sleeping pills, and I cracked all of those little pills out of the bubble wrap and put them in a little bottle. And I carried that bottle with me for a couple years until I finally got out of the military. And then after about a few months, I signed up for a community college and started going to diesel school to learn how to fix trucks and heavy diesel engines. And then slowly, I mean, over a period of like 3 or 4 months, the depression lifted. And it's like, I realized then that there was nothing wrong with me. I am not depressed. The problem was the army. I absolutely despised it. The people who were telling me what to do, that were ordering me around every day, were so idiotic. And I was military intelligence, and I have never met such an incredibly brilliant group of people who were so freaking stupid in my entire life. I'll tell you some stories about that, but I'll have to do it some other time. So, let's call it the fourth thing. The number 4 is that I'm one of those really rare and very lucky people for whom work in their chosen career is something almost like play.